Okay, it's been a hot minute since I made a Patreon video, so I have dragged myself down the workshop at 6 o'clock in the evening on a Wednesday for what is going to be an amalgamation of midweek video, what's going on, free and paid members access to the video, and we're also going to call it an after show for the video that has just been released on the Saturday, because I'll release this one at the same time. So, we've got a lot to get through, and with that in mind, I've also got a lot to get through because this place is an absolute state. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. First of all, I'm going to talk to you about why this is such a mess and what I've been doing. So while I tidy up, this Moxon vise has caught me out too many times with the spiky bits on the back. So let me just clear this away while I talk to you. You see, I've been doing a build video. Well, a series of build videos. And I haven't done a build video for quite a while, so it's been fun, but they do come with their difficulties. It's a pain in the butt to edit. It is a lot of mess, it's a lot of work, and, well, it's a lot of mess. So, if I clear some of it out the way, I'm not sure the camera's going to pick me up all the way, but I can then sit down, have a cup of tea, which I brought down, and talk to you about what's been going on. So, first things first, this video is a follow-up to what was my most popular video last year, so I have high hopes for it. Although, as we've proved time and again, I've got no idea what the YouTube algorithm is doing and why, so it might get very few views. But it's been a lot of fun, and as I say, I haven't done builds for a while, and I haven't done scrap wood builds for probably since this time last year. And I haven't done gift builds until that video last year as well. So, as I'm feeling pretty happy with my progress, I'm actually going to show you a sneak peek in what some of the builds are going to be. So, this one's in glue up at the moment, and it's going to involve a bird. I'm going to tell you nothing more about that. I'm going to hide it behind the camera. This one is the simplest one of them all. Not even going to tell you what that's for. You could probably figure that out. And then I got the standard series of easy to make scrap wood things, a few candle holders, and I tell you what, I've actually even enjoyed sanding because I've had this for about a year now, this Mercaderos, and I have to say, compared to the cordless Makita I was running before, this thing takes the time down by at least half, or to at least half. So I've had a lot of fun with that, and I've been trying to compare polishing wood. Like I've sanded, you won't see it on this, but I've sanded this block up to 1000 grit because I didn't want to apply any finish on it. I wanted to just polish it, and nothing polishes up like end grain. It feels like stone. I've got a long way to go on that because I still want to do more to it. Anyway, I have got so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 items. The plan was going to be 5 builds. I've got 2 more to do, so that's going to be 16. I think I've overshot slightly. I would explain probably why it's taken me so long. It's been days of coming down here for an hour or two here and there just to get this done. And I can't bother to do any more of the tidy up right now. I've cleared a bit of space. Let's talk about upcoming videos while we're on this one. So this will come out on the 6th of December. This will be the typical scrap wood presents for friends and family, or to sell to pay for tools. Same as last time, it's going to have that sort of start really simple. In fact, I think the first one is a block of wood. So it doesn't get much more simple than that. So start simple, and then I'm going to build up to something more complicated, which I'm yet to build. It's one of the last ones I'm going to do. And then editing's going to be an absolute pain in the bum, but we're not going to think about that for now, because I like to ignore the editing until it's really pressing, and then I have to do it all at once and make myself feel really sad. Anyway, so that's coming up. I've also got Christmas gifts for woodworkers, basically where I copied years ago what I thought was a brilliant idea by Peter Millard to do a bit of a gift list, things that have worked well this year. I've actually done that one nearly, and that's come out really well. I think there's going to be some interesting things on there, some comparisons as well. In fact, I've still got this. This is the bag of all the Christmas gifts. I can't even show you them, but I've got a very good idea. I actually managed to get a friend of mine to sponsor that video. So she works for a clothing company in the UK and they do belts. And she said, would you like to give away some belts? And I thought, oh, a Christmas list with a twist. So actually, this year's Christmas list is not just going to be recommendations, but I've managed to get a few giveaways in there as well, which I think is really cool. And what you'll like the most out of this is that the only way you can get involved in the giveaway is to be a Patreon. Not paid, free as well. Everybody who comes over and signs up for any kind of Patreon gets into that giveaway. And there's a few interesting things in there. It's not been fully stacked up yet, but I think it's going to be nice. I think it's going to work really well. So I'm trying to put a bit of a twist on that. And that's the Black Friday weekend. So actually that's coming out 28th of November. So that's going to be 2 weeks after you see this one. So that will be my start of the Christmas rundown, because I've also got a third video in December I'm yet to put together. So better not promise to actually complete that one, just in case it goes by the wayside. I'm hoping it won't. And with that in mind, I mean, that's what's coming up. So what about what's now? What's now round here? I have, as many of you know, I've spoken about this. I've been doing the ski job for the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks. And you might have noticed since I've done that Patreon's gone slower, replies to messages have been trickier, and also video production for YouTube has been really hard, because honestly, I get a day a week if I'm lucky to put towards it, and that's got to be every facet of the business. So it's got to be everything from sponsors, chatting to people around the business, things that I need to get done. So it's been really difficult to make decent videos. So it's a tricky choice, but I've had to sort of have less videos coming out, which is really annoying. And I really don't like not doing that for Patreon. I really don't like getting less videos out of Patreon, because that's important to me. And it's what I actually enjoy probably the most. I'll build videos like this actually are quite good, but Patreon videos feel a little bit more natural. Anyway, so what's happening now? Obviously production time's gone down. However, I've had a chat with my company that I work for the ski, and I definitely won't be working for them in December, but I've also taken an extra week at the back end of November for family reasons, and that should take a bit of the weight off for the run up to Christmas with the extra videos. So I'm hoping that's going to keep me tied to the 4 videos I've got, 1 that you've just watched and 3 more before Christmas. And then we'll let January be January, because I'm not sure anybody's plans in January go quite to plan, especially mine. So what is going to be happening in the video you just watched? Let's address that first. I really hope that if you've watched that, it didn't look like a sales pitch. There was supposed to be a sponsor in there. It was supposed to be a Bamboo Lab sponsored video. Couldn't get it tied up with the sponsor, and then I thought about it, and I had already got my sales plans for sale, print files for sale in there. So I thought, well, actually, I don't want to bombard it with sales. So let's just leave the one thing in there. I hope people don't see this as me trying to sell crap for £10. I know that sounds really stupid, but it has taken a lot of work to put the plans to the print files together. If anybody has I had this dilemma where, do I sell products or do I sell the files? Products mean that I'd be standing on a print farm with 5 or 6 printers going, trying to dish out or sell these things that I'm making. Files, I can make it once, I can leave it on the website. If people don't want them, they're not interested, that's fine. I have to say, for doing this sanding, these from this video, these bench dog cookies have been brilliant. Just putting them out in a line, in a square, and then putting whatever you want to put on them to sand is brilliant. And having a load of them has made it really, really easy. So there are certain ones in there that I think the files are worth the money. But I do understand that YouTube is littered with people trying to sell stuff. And up until a year ago, I wasn't selling anything. And now I'm sponsored. There's ad reads, there's selling. It's really hard. And I'm stuck in a middle ground. You guys know this, where I don't earn enough from YouTube to go full time, but I also have at least full-time hours from YouTube. So if I stick with my day job, I'm doing 2 full-time jobs, and that's only really good for so long. So unfortunately, selling is a necessary evil, but what I'm not saying to you guys is go out and buy it. What I'm saying is hopefully there's not too much cynicism and you don't think that I'm trying to milk everybody, because anybody watching this video is already doing enough in my book. More than enough. So I'm hoping, though, that a few of the extra files, I'm hoping sticking some freebies on, which I really feel stupid about now, because the freebies are these 3 cookie shelves to put the bench cookies in. Well, obviously you're not going to need to get them free unless you bought the bench cookies. So that's actually not as free as it should be. So I'm going to load up a couple more files now that I've got the ball rolling. This week's video, hopefully, I keep putting the scrapwood bits in there, and I'll say this, those V-blocks for the planing, if you knock a couple up from scraps of wood, you will be surprised how often you use them just for silly little jobs here and there, just to hold things at a weird angle, rather than holding it with your hand-to-hand plane. Those things are just a little bit more easy, a bit safer. I've actually used them quite a bit for chamfering the edges on some of these things that I've just been making this week. So there's things in there that actually, even if you just hammer some nails in to a board and use it as painter's triangles, hopefully there's a few tips that make up for the fact that I'm selling files with the video. It's only a 12-minute video as well. Shortest one I've done this year. So we'll see how that goes. So we've done the video. We've talked about what I'm making. Oh, I know what I brought down with me. I want to explain to you why I've not been making videos as well as the full-time job. There's one other thing that has held me back. I'm not going to talk about why I've been making these, but these have been, and I've talked about this a lot in the videos, these have been a series of nearly 20 videos to make these in you're going to know what it is. It's in a teaching capacity. So I've really stretched it out. But making 20 videos on this is the reason why I've not been able to make at least 6 or 7 more YouTube videos this year. What these are beginner-friendly jewellery boxes. Look at this. So this one has got zebra wood veneer on the lid and a sapele surround, and it's done with mitre joints. This one is the Burl veneer, possibly the nicest I've ever seen, apart from, you know who you are, you managed to find slightly nicer Burl veneer, which I'm a little jealous of. I'm quite tired. This is done with rebate joints, so that it's something a bit different. And these boxes are a design I've been using for years. So the way they work is the tray inside actually holds the lid on. So you've got all all these different sections in the middle. You've got some lovely foam in there. So the tray sits in there nice and snug, and it holds the lid on. It's not perfect. Nothing I ever make is. Some lovely little details so you know where to put the lid on. And as I say, it doesn't, they didn't come out, and I'm going to talk about this on the actual videos because you know what I'm like. I do tell all when it comes to all these things, but they haven't quite come out where I wanted them. But it's the same on that one. If anybody's interested, they're lacquered on the top and they're tung oiled on the sides. I have to say, I've only just noticed on this one, it's dried out a heck of a lot being in the house. So I might need to put some more wax polish on this. Luckily, I've just got my new supply. I don't know if you guys watch it, but just got my new supply from Single-Handedly Made. I'm really lucky. I've got friends that make this beeswax polish. That's from their own bees. They don't sell it, so I don't know why I'm advertising it, but they were kind enough to give me a couple of free tins. And then I've got Leo, who was over at his channel Hand Eye Crafts. He's changed now to Single-Handedly Made after his TV appearance. I actually was lucky enough in Liverpool recently to go and meet him and to chat to him along with a few other people, which I'll tell you about in an actual separate video. So he's given me some of his wax mineral spirit mix, which I love as a finish. It's so simple. So I'm going to apply a little bit more of that just to bring the sheen up on this, because tung oil can be quite satin finished, quite dull, which I like. It's brought out a really nice dark chocolatey colour in the sapele, which can be orange. if you don't get the right finish on it or the right cut of wood. Sometimes it's a bit of luck. But with the satin finish, I like to put a bit of a shinier surface on top. Nothing too much, but either a beeswax polish or a wax mineral spirit mix. So anyway, these are what have held me up a lot this year. It'll all come into fruition in the new year when I hopefully put all this together in a nice package, and it's just another thing that I can offer to people in a different way. I can't really talk too much about how we're going to lay it out because it hasn't really been finalised, but it will be. So these are what have held me up. So if you guys are out there thinking, how the heck has he not managed to get videos out? I've made the videos, they're just not for this. And, oh my gosh, I've had a real trial with this one. Let me show you this. I can't really reach it properly. I did plan to make a third box, one without a lid. Well, sorry, it's got a lid. One without a tray that holds it on and just the standard mitered boards inside. I can't explain how this went so wrong, but I put the first original piece of wood in, and then what I normally do is I then tweak them slightly, just sand them back slightly so the lid fits absolutely snug and you get this really nice piston fitted lid. Well, I had the lid twisted by 1/4 turn, and so I was trying to fit a lid to be flush where it had no real perfect fit. So if you can imagine, this isn't perfectly square, it's absolutely almost. So if I had have put the lid on the right way, I would have been able to just shave tiny bits off, sat the lid down, fitted it perfectly. I absolutely massacred the sides because I got really cross with it. It wasn't fitting. I took more and more and more and more off. So then when I realised my mistake and twisted the lid to the right way, well, it was wobbly all over the place. There was about 4mm of movement, which is too much. So I was going to throw the box away. I was going to trash it. And I'd already done quite a nice burl inlay on the top. And I did need it, so I'd have to make it again. But I gave myself one more shot at this, and this is where we're at. I actually, because I had it looking like this, but it was the wrong fit, so I basically cut and planed off all of the inner piece right down so it's flush with the actual box itself. And then I cut some battens. I don't know if you can see that they're separate. Cut some battens, mitered them again, glued them onto the top exactly where the old top bit was to almost reset it. And then all I've got to do is hide the joint. I've got to sand it flush here and then go about refitting the lid the right way round. What a palaver. And you wonder why things take me so long to get done, eh? Yeah, I'm making a lot more work for myself than I should. But we'll get there. This has been a really back and forth, mismatched, me blurting words at you video. I can only apologise, and one of the reasons for that is because I've just been desperate to get out here and talk to you. I literally put down my headset for my other job at 5:30, came straight down here with no idea. Actually, my wife persuaded me to come down and do something. So it wasn't even my sort of idea, so I didn't even have a list of stuff I wanted to talk to you about. It's just me. So, thank you for your patience with everything, with trying to get things out. I am determined that next year this will be full time. That's why I'm doing all this. That's why I'm putting all the extras in, print files. It feels like I'm going down a 3D printed route. It's not like that. It's just that I need to find a new audience as well as the old one and try and mix them together. I think there's a way of doing it subtly and fairly so that everybody enjoys it. We'll see. If not, there'll have to be another channel come out at some stage. I can't handle that right now. But we'll see. I'm going to leave this here. I really hope you enjoyed this week's video. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you're making things for Christmas and gifts, etc., before the Christmas gift video comes out, I reminded myself of something with this last one. It doesn't matter how fancy the thing you are making is, okay? These are like, let me give these an example. These are just some end grain coasters, right? Anybody can make them, like anybody. You don't even need a table saw, you could do it with a circular saw or whatever, hand saw and a plane. It's not about how fancy you make them look with the cuts and the wood. What matters is how well you finish them. So I reminded myself that I always rush the sanding process, the finishing process. I rush it, and then I'm really sad at the end when I look at it and there's a squirrel on it, or there's a chip or a dent that I missed. Rather than trying to make something really fancy, really complicated, make something simple and finish it well. That's my advice, because genuinely speaking, you could give someone a block of wood that is sanded up to a really nice finish, and they'll prefer that to a rough something carved or whatever complicated that is not tactile to touch, or that loses some of its really nice finesse appeal to it. So if you're looking at making something, anybody can make a candle holder, right? This isn't that fancy. It's just a chunk of wood, and it hasn't got finish on it or anything like that. But if you concentrate on the end grain and make that super slick, polish it almost. You only have to go up to 180 grit, because obviously you're still going to put wax on it, oil on it, whatever. 240 if you're going to spray lacquer, potentially you could go up to. But if you go slowly through the grits, take your time, make sure that you get rid of all of the scratch patterns off the last grit, that is going to come out, something simple is going to come out beautiful. I'm sure 99% of you watching this know what I'm saying. So I'm not teaching you to suck eggs or anything like that, because I know I don't make anything that sets the world alight, but spend more time on finishing and less time on torturing yourself trying to make something fancy. See how it goes. Thank you very much for watching. There'll be a few more of these coming out, because I've actually done a few things that I've half filmed. So it won't be as long before the next one. Whatever you're doing this weekend, enjoy it and stay safe. Enjoy your time in the workshop. Thank you for your support as always, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.